Now, let's talk about using joins in SQL. The SQL Join Clause is used to combine records from two or more tables in a database. A join is a means of combining fields from two tables by using values common to each of the tables. Let's take a look at an example. Now, let's take a look at our students table. Each student in the database has a unique ID, the name, their age, and their email. Now, this students table is related to the score table. Let's take a look at the student score table. Now, let's take a look at the student scores table. In the student scores table, the column ID is the unique ID for the scores. The student underscore ID column serves as the relationship column between the students table and the scores table. What I meant by that is that the students and the scores table share a common value using the ID column in the students table and the student underscore ID column in the scores table. Now, let's take a look at our example. To join the two tables, we'll do select name, comma, age, then the score, from students. Comma scores, then where the students dot ID, which is going to be the ID field, the ID column in the students table, equals to the scores dot student underscore ID. Now let's click on our go button to see the result. So here I have select the name column, age column, and the scores column from the students joining the scores table, where the students dot ID, which is the ID column in the students table, is the same thing as the scores dot student underscore ID, which is the student underscore ID column in the scores table. Now let's click on the go button to run our query. Now let's take a look at the results we have. We can see that we have the name displayed from the students table, and the age which is being displayed from the students table. Now we have the scores which is being joined to the students table from the scores table. This is how join works in SQL. Now let's take a look at the SQL Union Clause. The SQL Union Clause is used to combine the results of two or more select statements without returning any duplicate rows. To use a union clause, each select statement must have the same number of columns selected, the same number of column expression, the same data type, and must be in the same order. Now let's take a look at an example. Now let's consider this example. We'll select the name, the email, the age from the students joining the scores table, and then check for the union between the two. We'll click on the go, and then we'll have all our results. Now let us discuss the aliasing syntax in SQL. Aliasing in SQL allows us to rename a table or column temporarily by giving another name known as alias to the table name. In short, aliasing is just a way of renaming a table or column in your SQL statement. Now, let's look at an example of aliasing. For aliasing, let's select and join the two tables, the students table and the score table together. Let's select the ID. So I'll say students ID, student name, student email. From students. For what I am trying to do here is I'm using the alias name for the student table, which is X. Now I'll need to declare my S, which is the alias I'm using. To do that, I'll use the SQL keyword as S. Now let me join the students table to the score table. So I'll do score as, let me use SC for scores, and then where the student.id equals to the scores .student_id. Now let me select the scores so that we understand what we are doing. .scores. Now what I did here is that I used the aliasing concept in SQL. Aliasing is just a way of giving a temporary name to the main table name. Instead of using the full student's name, I can now use my S, which I'm declaring the table as here. The same thing goes for scores. Instead of having to type out the full scores, I'm now using alias to pass the name as SC. Now, let's click on the Go button to run our query. Now, we can see from our results that we have exactly what we selected from the DB. I have the ID, I have the name, I have the email, and the scores. Now, let's take a look at the alter command in SQL. The SQL alter table command is used to add, delete, or modify columns in an existing table. You should also use the alter table command to add and drop various constraints on an existing table. In this example, we will use the alter command to add a new column to our existing students table. Now let's go to our SQL. Now, to write our alter command, we'll start with the SQL keyword alter. Alter table, then the table name students, then the action we want to perform, add a column. We'll put the column name now. So the column we actually want to add to the student table is the surname. Now we'll specify the type. And then the length. Now let's click on the Go button to run our query. Now, if we go into the students table and then take a look at it, we will discover that we have created a new column called surname. This is how the alter command works in SQL. Also note that we can use the alter command to do several things. We can use it to drop a database and also drop the database table column. Now let's try and drop the surname column we just created. Our alter table, the table name is students, then drop surname. This would delete the column surname. Now let's click on the Go button. Now let's go to the students table. Now we can see that the surname column is no longer there. That's all about the alter syntax. Lastly, let's take a look at the truncate table command. The SQL truncate table command is used to delete complete data from an existing table. It is almost similar to the drop table command, but the truncate table would remove complete table structure from the database, and you would need to recreate the table once again if you wish to store some data. let's look at the syntax and example. In this example, let's truncate the scores table. Now, we'll call the truncate SQL command, truncate table, and then the table name. By running this command, the table scores will be totally deleted from our database. Let's click on Go. Now, we will go to our npower SQL. We will discover that all the data inside our scores table have been deleted. The truncate table command is used to delete entirely the data inside a table in the database. In conclusion, in this module, we've talked about what a database is. We also look at the syntax of writing SQL queries. We also discussed data types in SQL, operators, conditions, expressions. Also, we look at queries in SQL. We also look at the basic syntax of writing clauses in SQL, likewise joins and unions. And now it is believed that we've acquired enough knowledge to write basic SQL operations in our future projects. Thank you.